Facebook ads campaign not working. I know how it feels. So no worries. I'm going to show you the exact method that we use in the agency to identify in really simple steps where the issue is when it comes to the dipping performance for a conversions campaign. Okay, so let's get started. First things first. There's another video which I'm going to put the link in this video description about how to set the columns to properly analyze the ad campaign's performance, right? Which are these for an e-commerce, right? Among others, I have probably 2 or 3 column sets with different things, but this is the primary one that I use in the day-to-day operations. And the second one is to open 2 tabs, 2 browser tabs, one with one period and the other one with another period. And these 2 periods are about the following. One, you need to identify when the campaigns worked well, if there was any. Otherwise, no worries. Hang in there. I'm going to get there in a sec. But if you have these campaigns working well, I don't know, 1 week before, 2 weeks, etc., you need to target this period. In this case, mine is November, right? And now I have a second browser tab with the last 7 days, right? You always need to compare apples with apples. So in this case, I'm going to compare 7-day periods, right? Not 7 days with versus a month. No, it's not that. 7 days against 7 days, right? If you haven't had these campaigns working well, this method will be useful anyway. The thing is that you wouldn't know what to expect as a successful outcome, but I'm going to give you tips along the way, no worries. So let's get started. If you have 2 periods, let's go first to the second one, to the old period, let's say, right? So I'm going to go to the, I'm going to present the metrics I have here. I have like the reach, the frequency, the cost per result, the budget, impressions, CPM, CPC, CTR, link clicks, landing page views, which these are different, and I have explained this in another video. The cost per landing page view, add to cart and the cost, checkouts initiated and the cost, purchases and the cost, the conversion value, the ROAS, the website conversion rate, which I'm going to explain in a sec, and the amount spent. I'm going to focus on this campaign right here, right? So this is the thing. You look at the performance. It all comes because of a trigger, right? There's a trigger, and then we need to analyze something. Typically, the trigger is a dip in performance. So right now, the trigger is that the purchase ROAS went from almost 3 to 1.50, right? As a context for you, this is because my client ran out of stock, so we are in pre-order, and of course, it's not the same effect, right? So after the holiday season, everything went down for that reason. So still, we need to analyze what we can do for them and trim the fat, cut the efforts that are not probably bringing them results, and try different things. So there's still things to do. So if we go to the old period, let's say, this is the ROAS, right? So we need to take a look at some numbers first. First, the total conversion rate. The conversion rate is a custom metric I have created, right? When you go to the column sets and to edit the column sets right here, you can create custom metrics, right? So again, there's a whole other video for this, but you can create a custom metric here, right? So the custom metric is basically purchases divided the landing page views. You can do it with the link clicks as well. I do it with the landing page views because sometimes they differ. Link clicks between landing page views. So purchases divided landing page views is the website conversion rate, meaning how many people converted or bought from those who visited the website, right? So in this case, the conversion rate for this campaign is 5.84. If I go to the current period, the last 7 days, I see that it's still high, but there's a slightly dip in performance to 5.16, right? So far, so good. Nothing crazy. There's not a huge dip. Why we take a look at that? We want to see if there was something wrong on the website or something strange that made the conversion rate struggled a lot and thus decrease the conversion rate and thus increase the cost at the end of the funnel or at the bottom of the funnel. Once we assess that's not the case, for me at least, it might be for you, and you can have your answer right there, and we can explore in a sec what to do next. We can go to the CPC. So this is how it works. We have the whole thing, the whole metrics in orders from CPM, CTR, CPC, clicks, and all the website events in order, landing page views, add to cart, initiated checkout, and purchase. So we need to go to the half, right? The half. And the half is the CPC, the cost per click. The link clicks that we had for what we paid to Facebook. So in this case, we had a CPC of 2 when things were working well. Whereas now, if we compare, we have a CPC of 2.80. That's a huge increase, right? If we compare it in a percentage, right? So it's almost closer to 3, I could say, than to 2. So instead of paying 2, we paid 2.80 or almost 3 for each visit, right? And even though the conversion rate suffered a little bit, the CPC suffered a little bit too. So things are starting to accumulate, and that has an impact on the ROAS. So we were aiming for a cost per purchase of 40, right? And the cost per purchase now is 67, right? So you can see the increase has something to do with that. The conversion rate, the decrease there, but also putting someone on the website or getting a visit on the website is more expensive. We're going to see why, right? How we can check that? So the CPC is a calculated field. The CPC is actually the result of the CPM, which is 29, divided 1,000, because it's 1,000 impressions that we get for this price, divided the CTR. CPM divided 1,000 divided the CTR. That's the CPC. You can run the numbers with your campaigns and you will see it's exactly that. So, meaning that if the CPM is higher or the CTR is lower, will produce an increase in the CPC. Sometimes those will be compensated because you could get a higher CPM, but a higher CTR as well. So that will compensate, right? But if you get the perfect storm combination, which is a higher CPM and a lower CTR, then you'll get a higher CPC. So here the CPM was 29 and the CTR was 1.46. And now we are getting a CPM of 38, from 29 to 38. And the CTR is slightly lower than the CTR that we used to have, 1.46. Now it's 1.38. That's okay. A little bit, right? But this increase is huge. And that's why the CPC jumped from 2 to 2.80. So for the same amount of money, instead of getting 2 visitors, we get, 3 visitors or 2 visitors, we get less, right? So we are going to see that we are getting less people on the landing page. But that's not all. How many people added products to cart from those who are landing on the website? So we can do the math easily, right? 310 divided 800, and you get that it's 17% that we are getting right now, right? Whereas before, we used to get, let's say, 1,000 out of 8,000. So it's 1,000 divided at 8,000. It was 12%, right? So we are good here, meaning that people that are actually landing on the website are adding products to cart even more than before. So that's good. We don't have a drop here. We are trying to find the drop. We have identified so far that there's a drop before people go on the website. But now we are trying to identify where the drop in that 5 and something percentage of the conversion rate is. So if you do the math with the same, with the rest of the metrics, add to cart to checkouts or checkouts to purchase, we are going to find that somewhere there's going to be a decrease. So you need to do the same exercise, doing like 89 divided 310 and compare if that conversion rate was higher or lower than 148 divided this number, right? And if it's lower, you're going to see that actually there's something there. But now let's not forget about something we have discovered already. We have discovered that the CPC is more expensive now than it was before. And we have already said that it was due to the CPM mainly. Now, when it's due to the CPM, it's the auction, right? Mainly. There could be a lot of things, but it's mainly the auction, right? The keywords you're bidding for are more expensive, or it could be that people are reporting your ads, so you're getting the CPM higher because Facebook is penalizing you because it doesn't want you to show your ads, or if you're going to do it anyway, you're going to pay higher numbers or prices for that. But you should analyze that per ad set. So we are going to dive deeper here, and we're going to identify the ad sets we had in each period. So let's say here, we need to identify if there was one or two or many expensive, right, ad sets. So it's not worth it to analyze every single ad set. So what I like to do is to go here to the amount spent column and order that in a descending way. So we see first, we analyze where we spend the big bucks, right? Otherwise, if we spent only $1, that is not going to move the needle for the metrics, right? So if we spent a lot here, we need to take a look at the CPC, right? So the CPC here was 3.45. So this is like crazy numbers, right? And if you take a look, the CTR here is more or less the same, but we are bidding way more for techies, for these lookalike audiences, and for these than probably for some others, right? So I'm going to do the same here. And now I'm going to compare, right? To simplify the exercise on this video, I'm not going to do the whole thing, but I'm going to explain what to do from here. So you see that I'm trying to analyze the costs here, right? And the CPMs. So you'll see the costs, probably the highest one, and we turned it off back then. It was 4.45. So if we turn it off in November, probably it's not turned on right now, and it's not going to affect the numbers now. But techies was cheap, right? And these ones were cheap even in November. But right now, for some reason, techies and these lookalikes is super expensive. So what you need to do right now is to go to the ads level, and this is the same thing. If it was one ad or more than one ad, and turn off that, because here we are paying lower prices, and here we're paying the big prices, the higher prices. You shouldn't turn off an ad set or an ad only to the CPC, because in the end, if the numbers are great here, let's say you had a 2x or 3x ROAS, then great. But if the numbers are not great, then this should be turned off. And that's what we are going to do next, right? We are analyzing this live, and we're saying, hey, probably this should be going away because it's wasting our money. Clearly, they are not providing us any great ROAS, nor any great CPC, so why keeping them, right? So this is what you should do. So again, as a quick recap, you should have the columns first, the columns in order for every event in the in your e-commerce, right? For a user in your e-commerce, and then you need to start taking a look at the conversion rate. And then you need to start to take a look at the CPC. And then if the CPC is higher than before, you need to take a look at the left. So let's say uh, the CPC, sorry, the CPM, the CTR. So you need to analyze why it's more expensive for you than before getting a visit on your website, right? If the CPC is more or less the same, you need to explore the right side of things, which is where people are dropping off from the visit to the cart. Are they adding products to cart? Or when they add products to cart, are they starting the checkout process? Or when they start the checkout process, are they starting, are they actually buying? I'm going to give you a few tips based on real case stories. We once assessed that due to the decrease in performance, analyzing this, we had a client that we discovered that there were really few people adding two products to cart than before. So the I don't know, their average add to cart conversion rate or add to cart rate from the visits was, I don't know, 20 to 30%, and all of a sudden it was 5%. At least we talked to the client and they forgot to say, hey, Brian and team, we don't have more stock of the best performing items. Those people are just not ordering, right? There wasn't any way of ordering their products, so people were not ordering. So it made sense. Why they didn't tell us, it's a separate story, but it wasn't the first or the last time that happened. Clients are really busy and they forget to tell you every single last update on their business, although they should, but you should be up to date with regards to metrics as well. That's one thing. Then on another client, we discovered this is more probably this is stranger that happens, but it happened more than once. In this case, there was a dip in performance from checkout to purchases, and everything was going fine, like 50% from I don't know cards to checkout. It was really well, but then people abandoned before buying. So we were wondering why. And it was an international e-commerce brand, and they had a bug after one update on their website, and the language of the website and the currency were changing randomly after someone started the checkout process. So they started in English, they done all the process in English, and then they reached the checkout page, and it was I don't know in euros instead of US dollars, and it was in German or in I don't know French, right, instead of in English. So people naturally abandoned, right? So those are the things you can uncover with this simple but yet powerful process. If again, this is mind blowing, but you say, Brian, I don't have time, nor the knowledge, nor the willingness to do this, and you need a professional team to handle this for you, please feel free to reach out. There's the contact information. I will leave that in the video comments. And anything you need, you just reach out. Okay. Thank you.